It's beautiful. I've looked at this for 5 hours now.
Hi, my name is Nacho, welcome back to the channel. So The Last of Us is finally out, and this review took so long to come out because I wanted my chakras to be perfectly aligned in order to enjoy the first episode. And because the initial gossip from some very trusted channels, and by that I mean the degenerates over at 9gag, said that this was finally a good adaptation. And apparently every rating site seems to feel the same way.
However,
some one-star reviewers are comparing this to just another generic zombie apocalypse show. To shut that down immediately, the cordyceps fungus can't spread through dead bodies. So the zombies you're seeing are in fact people who are alive the whole time, which makes it so much worse and better because any clicker level 3 or under is usually killable with a few bullets. Now there's a weird discussion going on as well, because one group of people thinks that the adaptation feels like a live action of the game, recapping important events and staying true to the source material, which tends to be the first thing they throw out the window 9 times out of 10. But on the other hand, people are complaining that it doesn't do anything new, and the bits that are new are boring. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Remember to sub if you like the video, and as always I'll share my thoughts at the end of the episode. But without further adios, let's get into it. So the episode begins with a flashback of the 60s, and you can tell it's the 60s because everyone has a cigarette in their hands, to a TV show interviewing two doctors about the threat of infections.
With a global pandemic. Pan meaning all, the whole world becomes sick all at once.
Sounds familiar? And we see John Hannah as an epidemiologist who hints at the danger that fungi presents as an infection agent and casually name drops the cordyceps fungus.
There's a fungus that infects insects, bending the ant's mind to its will, where to go, what to do, like a puppeteer with a marionette. Keeps its puppet alive by preventing decomposition.
Fungal infection of this kind is real, but not in humans.
And currently there are no reasons for fungi to evolve to be able to withstand higher temperatures. But what if that were to change? What if, for instance, the world were to get slightly warmer? Now, there is reason to evolve. Ergot, cordyceps, aspergillus, any one of them could become capable of bottle. There are no treatments for this, no preventatives, no cures. They don't exist. It's not even possible to make them.
So if that happens,
We fucked.
We lose.
Alright, okay, yeah, very good. Right off the bat, setting up the lore. What will happen if fungus decides to fuck us all in the ass? And that's The Last of Us. We cut to the opening credits to the music of Gustavo Santaolalla, the same composer of the games, and to me, well, it's that simple. Gustavito! It is that easy. Just copy it. Just adapt it. Don't fucking spread anything on it. Just take A, move it to B, and then that's it. Now in 2003, and much like the game, the start of the story is told from Sarah's perspective, who does a fairly good job setting up the mood of the story. Can't wait to see her character developed. But it's Joel's birthday and we get the initial look of him and Tommy, who then leave the house to go to work, and on their way out, Sarah grabs his old watch. They have a quick interaction with the neighbors, and as they drove off, we see their truck bumper sticker, which might be a small detail, but to me it showed that this was made by people who understand the concept of show, don't tell. Backstory. You see, we don't need a fucking narrator saying, and they were combat veterans in Iraq before they came to Texas. No, just show us a fucking sticker that says combat veteran. That's it. It's that easy. Hey, what's up, Bush? Now, this is not the case in the games, but I guess serves as a way to justify why Joel and Tommy are able to survive what's coming. We cut to Sarah at the watch store and we get the first subtle hints that shit is about to hit the fan, but props to this guy who fixes the watch in absolute record time. That was quick. She goes to hang out at the neighbor's house where the old lady described what some of the HBO producers should do for allowing Velma to be made.
People out there need to get right with Jesus. 3 nails plus 1 cross. I was thinking we'd make some cookies.
Chocolate chip?
Raisin.
You need Jesus, lady. While the cookies are being made, Sarah goes on to explore the house, and in the back it seems that Grandma is not feeling very well. Joel makes it back to the house, Sarah gives him his present, and they sit down to watch some old DVDs. Google that, Zoomers. Until he gets a call from Tommy to bail him out of jail. He puts Sarah to bed, and we cut to a few hours later when she wakes up from all the noise and goes into the neighbor's house to see why their dog is outside. Once inside, she finds the dead and almost dead neighbors who are being munched on by Nana, who we now see has the fungus running her brain. She runs outside when Tommy and Joel arrive and put Nana out. From this point, they try to escape the town the same way they do in-game, staying true to the majority of details. Unfortunately, they get driven into the center, and here's a little change they made from the game. Instead of being hit by that truck, they are rolled over by a plane exploding in the middle of the street. A bit of cinematic flair that was added that I'm not super mad about. Tommy gets stuck behind some cars catching fire, and Joel begins escaping from the infected with an injured Sarah in his arms, and they make it to that scene. Oh shit.
My daughter's hurt. Her ankle. Stop right there.
Shit, they have no way of knowing who is sick or who's not.
We're not sick. Sir, we are not sick!
I'm sorry.
Please don't.
Tommy saves them from being shot, and man, I knew this was gonna happen, but goddamn. And I love that Pedro is the one playing this scene.
Joe.
Oh, even seeing it again is hard. Holy shit. Fast forward 20 years to modern day Boston, where we see a kid walk into the safe zone. Before the attacks. He's taken inside where he is tested, and this fancy device shows that he's infected. But that's alright because this is 2023 and they just hit him with that Moderna and... Oh no. So we come back to Joel, who is now a hardened survivor of whatever is left of the world, and what I like about this transition is that not only is it beautifully shot, it also showcases the new living conditions that these people have to deal with, being under the ruling of Fedra and using ration coupons as currency. Something that gets a little overlooked in the games because we are too busy crafting shifts. Oh, public executions are back, that's cool. Like France in the 1900s. Joel has an encounter with one of the guards where he smuggles him some drugs, and we get the initial conversation about the Fireflies' attack on the city.
How much?
We got to Robert and Tess where a little of the story was changed, and Rob sold a battery that belongs to our protagonist instead of guns, and now he's worried that Joel will retaliate. In the game we only see Tess after this meeting, but plot-wise it does not divert far from the original. Suddenly a truck blows up and Tess makes it out, but gets cornered by a fight between Fedra and the Fireflies and gets arrested. We finally meet Ellie, who unlike the game starts chained to a wall and is tested by the Fireflies to see if she'll turn. Back to Joel, who goes to a radio guy to ask about Tommy, who apparently has been lost in the wilderness for a while, which gives him the motivation to go and find him. He goes back to his apartment that looks very much like the game and begins planning the trip while getting absolutely smashed. Tess makes it back in the middle of the night, and in the morning she explains what happened to her face the same way she does in game, then tells Joel about Robert's scam, and they set up to go and find him. We meet Marlene, who joins a meeting with the Firefly lieutenants and tells one of them that they are leaving Boston mainly because she realized that Ellie is immune, and in a way it insinuates that this is the way that they will finally beat Fedra. Back to Joel and Tess, who continue to look for Robert, and I love Pedro Pascal in this.
If you're feeling lost.
Tell me to look for the light and I'll break your jaw.
They now know where he is, and again the similarities that this shares with the game continue to please me. Marlene introduces herself to Ellie, tells her that she's not turning, and explains that she was the one that dropped her off at the Fedra military facility. And the next line is very ephemeral, but I like it because it felt like it was written by someone who understands how people talk. If a pale, blue-eyed kid come and ask me if I'm his dad, my response would be something along the lines of,
You're my fucking mom or something?
And look like your mom?
No, you do not.
see? That's how easy it is.
My name is Mark.
So they continue the conversation, and look, I'm still working on whether or not I like Bella as Ellie, but what I'll say is that she does a great job showing emotions whenever she needs to. Cool little detail is the name drop of Riley from The Last of Us Left Behind. Joel and Tess make their way to the building where Rob is, and we get a similar scene with the guy basically fused to the wall, but no mask, because remember they cut sports from the show, and unlike the game, the path of them getting there is considerably shorter, which for runtime I say it works. So they finally found Robert, who's not looking very hot, and the car battery also not so hot. Joel walks around the corner and finds Marlene with a shot on her hip, and Ellie jumps onto him with her knife just like in game. Turns out that the battery was bad, no shit, and Rob didn't like them rejecting it, bing bang boom, everyone's dead. Marlene basically convinces Joel and Tess to smuggle Ellie in return for some merch, and they accept after negotiating some terms, with the idea of also getting Tommy on their way west. Joel takes Ellie to his apartment where a familiar scene plays out, but we also get some added information about songs from different decades used to convey smuggling messages.
What are you doing?
Killing time.
Well, what am I supposed to do?
I'm sure you'll figure that out.
Your watch is broken. Where to go?
After Joel wakes up, Ellie tells him about the song that was playing, Wake Me Up Before You Go Go, a classic 80s tune, but in these circumstances means bad news. Tess shows up and they make it to the outside of the wall, again, a lot faster than in-game for the sake of runtime. They sneak their way through the fields until they run up to a guard taking an at-work bathroom break, a great way to kill time, that turns out to be the guy that Joel was dealing with earlier. He decides to be a prick and run the rat test on them, but does not call it in, and when he gets to Ellie, she stabs him. Joel stands in front of her, he gets a flashback of what happened to Sarah and jumps onto the guard. I think he's down, Joel. Joel, I think he's down, mate. He can stop. I think you got him. God damn. I think he got him. But Tess finds out that Ellie is infected and she shows him her scar, and as more federal officers close in, they cross into the city. Once more, quicker than the game because we are avoiding most of the sneak gameplay. Go to Joel's apartment where Never Let Me Down Again by the Pitch Mode starts playing, 80s song by the way. We see the devastated remains of the city and we hear the clickers growl before we fade to black. Alright. Good shit, man. I like it. Yep. It looks like The Last of Us, feels like The Last of Us. Yeah, good shit. I feel like I shouldn't form an opinion about the show this early, but I had the gameplay playing on the side, and yes, there was a lot of the story that was taken out because you can't have Pedro crouching from location to location picking up items, and some of the scenes that were added felt a little bit slow from time to time. A lot less killing as well. In that last scene, for example, Joel and Tess kill heaps more Fedra agents trying to get out with Ellie. Performances are great. I'm still a little bit on the fence with Bella Ramsey, but everyone else has such a close feel to the original characters. I feel like I'm watching The Last of Us, and that's what an adaptation should be. I can't say much more because this is only the first episode, but so far, I like the feel of it, and apparently I'm not the only one who thinks that way. I have to let you guys know that I might struggle with the next episodes because my living conditions are compromised, and I might have to move around a lot for the next month or so. I'll try my best to upload as much as I can, but it's gonna be a lot less elaborate videos. But if you watched this far into the video, leave us a like, let me know in the comments down below what was your take on the first episode. Did it feel like The Last of Us? And as always, I've been Nacho, hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.